Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I'm your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Monday, March 7th, 2022, as we break down the NBA, some college hoops, some semifinals and finals in the conference play as we get ready for the bigger conferences in the middle and late this week. We'll touch on the NHL, a lot of high price games right now. Some breaking news in the NFL. Let's bring Scott on first. Without further ado, my co-host, partner in crime, the one, the only, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Good afternoon, Scott.
Hey, good afternoon, sir. And whatever your breaking news is, we have a bad game too.
Hey, I like those bad games. They're 3-1, so they got to come back. Shout out to our boy, Mr. Billy Hewlin, and his wife, Rebecca. Yes, let's figure this board out. With that said, the breaking news, and it kind of goes with Mr. Hewlin here. Hewlin is a Louisiana boy, native, Alabama Crimson Tide, Roll Tide. The breaking news, if you didn't see it, is that Calvin Ridley has been suspended for the 2022 season for gambling. And the whole time, I will be honest with you, I thought it was alcohol or drugs. Social media brought up the mental health card. I wasn't going to get into that one because I didn't have any insight. I just thought, it's got to be alcohol or drugs. And then this is earth shattering. I will give you my two minutes on this one. First and foremost, you don't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to gamble on sports. It just doesn't happen that way. Okay. So I'll play devil's advocate, and Marty Lowe, one of our loyal, longtime listeners and family members, sent me the news from Rappaport, and then I reposted it from Shefty. I want to see them go back to his college career in Alabama. You don't just get drafted and then come into the NFL and start betting. That's my whole point. It's kind of in the genes. I can attest from years and years and years of experience. I can talk about my biological dad till I'm blue in the face. And most of you know my story. And I have no problem telling my story. Why do I tell my story? Because I don't want everyone to make the same mistakes that I did. But I saw what booze did. I saw what drugs did. I saw what bad gambling did through my biological dad. Yet I had to go out and test the waters, of course. Why? Because I had his genes. So the point is, I don't have any information on Calvin Ridley. I do know that it ruined Pete Rose's career to the point that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Calvin Ridley was just getting his feet wet. He was going to be a great wide receiver, just like Henry Ruggs was going to be a great wide receiver, and booze got in his way, and he killed someone. So I don't have any details. Am I shocked? Damn straight I'm shocked, because with the gambling that was passed that each state can make this now legal, everyone talked about, well, how creditable is it with the athletes now? And every time someone loses the game, most likely it's rigged. You go to the NFL, a missed extra point, a missed chip shot field goal, whatever it is, you look at that kicker and sarcastically you said, he must have had the under or he had the other side. It said tongue in cheek, when these coaches go for two for no reason and it just happens to land on the number or they cover. That's always in the mind of these people. Now we have an NFL star getting suspended for a full year. Thoughts, Scott?
I think that these people sometimes are in positions that they are, and they think they're above the rules, because the rules are presented to them over and over, and then presented to them in many different ways and avenues. So if they don't land the message, it's not the givers of the rules, it's the person that's trying to answer to the rules, and the persons that are answering to the rules are those that feel privileged, and they're above the law, if that's what you want to call it. So my thoughts are that um, these guys get paid a lot of money to play the game, so much more so money than what somebody's going to pay you to throw a game, that I don't think that that's really the at stake issue. I think the guy just has a gambling problem. So if the guy's going to gamble on the sports, I think that what you'll find is that they'll go back, and he doesn't have control over everything he bet on. He just thinks he's smarter because he's in the NFL. So I think that that's probably what their real thing is, and it doesn't say that they can't go gamble on baseball, or they can't go gamble on basketball or something else. They can do that stuff, but they can't bet the sports that they play. That's for sure. So I don't think this is going to be one of those things that pops up that's a um, um, super big deal in sense of 14 other guys are doing it. I think you're just going to see this as be a one-off, and there'll probably be one-offs like this everywhere. But I think it's kind of surprising that it's somebody. I guess that is that young. I mean, I would have figured it might be somebody that was a little older, more veteran kind of person, that had been just got ratted out somehow. But interesting anyway.
Again, I don't have any details. Okay. And I'm going to compare this to something else. Okay. And you played in the MLB. Okay. So what I'm going to say, maybe you're going to look at me like I have 25 heads. This is the way I understand it. Okay. The doctors, your doctor, whoever it is 2 weeks ahead of the cycle, 3 weeks ahead of the cycle. And you have a general idea when you're going to get tested. Okay. So we go back to when the game was dying and we had the steroid era. Okay. The McGuire, Bonds, and Sosa chase. Okay. I bring up David Ortiz here. Okay. Floundering in Minnesota, comes over to Boston and becomes Ted Williams. Okay. He was flagged in Belco. He tested positive. Now, he always, for most of the people, the naysayers, I look at him as a steroid user. And if you look at the latter part of his career, as he was supposed to be deteriorating and bat speed gets slower, just look at the size of the guy. He was getting better, stronger. Again, you're 2 weeks ahead of the cycle. You know about when you're going to get tested. Okay. So I think it was effing comical that first ballot Hall of Famer, what he did was heroic for Boston. I'm not going to take it away from him. Okay. But Pedro Martinez will always be my favorite Red Sox guy. Okay. Now he gets in, and Bonds, Clemens, and a few other steroid guys don't get in. Okay. Bonds was going to get in even if he didn't take steroids. Okay. And then, yes, we all know he was on steroids. But the fact of the matter is, you can't turn the blind eye on one and let the other guys suffer. I talked about Pete Rose. Okay. He gambled on baseball. He'll never get into the Hall of Fame. Should he? His numbers and credentials, Scott, are Hall of Fame. It's not Mr. Hustle, Charlie Hustle, whatever you want to call him. One of the greatest of all times. But because of gambling, he's not. Now you look at Calvin Ridley. I'm not comparing him to Pete Rose. I'm not comparing him as one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, or was going to be. And you can compare the steroids, to gambling as apples and oranges, but it's the same thing. And what you said is correct. These guys think they're bigger than life. But what really gets me is he had to have been flagged. Someone in the organization, whether it was from Atlanta or from the NFL, had to have said, hey, Calvin, stop it. We know what's going on. And it just kept going. And this wasn't $100, $500, or $1,000 bets either. It couldn't have been.
Well, one of the all-time greatest gamblers of athletes there ever was is Michael Jordan. I think there was a lot of nosing around and picking around to see if he was gambling on the games and stuff like that. And I think all that turned away. That he didn't do the NBA games. So I think it's kind of interesting that someone that has certain clout, certain things, but Pete Rose has a lot of clout. I mean, he's big time. But when it's obvious and probably more than just a handful of people know about it, it's going to get out. So, the NBA does an investigation, can't find Michael Jordan guilty and stuff, and I'm betting on the NBA. But because the way Pete Rose did it and what he did and how he did it, is everybody knew. So it's just, you got to be professional at what you do, whether you're gambling on games or you're a baseball player or a basketball player or whatever you're doing. You got to be professional at what you do. And if you are, a lot of times you can bend the rules certain ways sometimes and get away with it because nobody else really finds out, or they can cover it up. But once it gets to a point where you can't cover it up anymore, you're done, because you'll find that everybody and their brother is hitting you from all over everywhere, and there's nothing you can do about it because you're exposed. Once you're exposed, it's over, and the shield is gone from anybody else protecting you from the leagues. As a matter of fact, they're going to carry the heaviest billikens and beat you up and everything else from that perspective. But I just think it's just an interesting story.
Well, I'm going to say something, and okay, you talked, good call on Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, a former Celtic, Antoine Walker, who made, I think it was $100 and something million, 150, I think it was $1 million, stone broke. Why? At the casinos. And Charles comes out and goes, he even said it a couple of weeks ago, he goes, I'm going to my gravestone broke. I ain't leaving any of my money around. My Michael Jordan story, and I'm going to say this, and anyone watching and listening, I'm just going to speak my mind here on Michael Jordan for 2 seconds. I was on Sirius Radio with Adam Shine back a lot of years ago, and I said this story, what I heard. Okay. Now, is it true? I don't know. We all know Michael Jordan was a big time gambler, especially if you do the East Coast. He played the Celtics Friday night, and then he'd fly to Atlantic City after the game, and then he played the Nets on Saturday, and he'd end up in Philly on Sunday. Okay. Michael loves his gambling. He loves his golf game. And he pays his losses to people that he respects. And I, on Sirius Radio, on Adam Shine's show, said, I heard Michael's father's death, which was pinned on two 17-year-olds in North Carolina, was from the fact that he didn't pay off a gambling debt. Okay. Now, Adam said to me, are you sure? I said, Adam, this is just what I heard. Now, Michael was asked to leave the NBA for 1 year because the IRS was coming down, exactly what you just said. So what does he do? He retires and he plays baseball for a year. The dust is settled because NBA, Michael Jordan was the face. They didn't want to ruin the face. Hey, Michael, we need you to just disappear for a year. IRS is coming down. We need you to, we don't ruin your brand, your name, and everything. So he goes and plays for the White Sox for a year, clears the air, and then he comes back. Okay. So again, his father died. Okay. And now it was just thrown under the rug, by two hoods, two young teenage kids that I think one of them's actually up for parole or was getting out. But That's what I heard a million years ago. And that's what I've always said. I don't just come out and make up stories like that. Why would I do that? But that's what gambling does to people. How come I close the show every day talking about wagering and investing responsibly? And if you have a problem, ask for help. There's an 800 number available. That's how I close the show.
Having an addiction is tough to beat. Whether it's alcohol or our lanes, the gambling lanes, or if it's smoking or drugs, or whatever it is, whatever your addictions are, they're tough to beat. And it takes a lot of mental fortitude to be able to do certain things on your own. And the idea is that there are people who can help you. And a lot of times you don't feel like you need help. That's the biggest problem with most of the people who have an addiction. They don't feel like they need help. So if you do know people that are in bad ways because of what they're doing, and it's addictive related, somebody just steps in. That's all you have to do. Step in and make sure that these people understand, that stuff happens that way, and that they need to control it, and see if you can be good with the advice that you give, because it's important.
No doubt. No doubt at all. And again, I don't have any information. I just saw what Shefty and Rapp reported. And I'm wishing him all the best. He's so young, like Henry Ruggs, made a mistake. And it's all it takes is one mistake to just change your life in 2 seconds. And hopefully he gets the help that is needed. Hopefully this isn't some connected with the wrong people, and then they go into his Alabama and they see the drop touchdown or whatever. It is what it is. But let's get to the board. Billy and a lot of people here watching want to hear what we have to say about tonight. It's not the greatest boards. It's a Monday night. It's a first start of the new week. So I always talk about tread lightly. 1-0 versus 3-1 basically gets you the same thing. So you don't need to basically force the action. So if you see one game, feel confident, just play that game. The NBA, Scotty, has 8 games. Take it away.
Yeah, I already played that Chicago-Philadelphia game. I played it under 232. I think it might be 232 and 232 and a half at a lot of places right now. So same concept, same idea here. You've got Chicago coming in off 2 days rest. Usually when teams are coming in off a rest, they play better defense. And the Philadelphia 76ers are playing their 3rd game in 4 nights, and it's just a weird spot for them where they were away or they were home and then away, and now they're home again. Then they get a couple of days off, then they go on the road again. So it's just a weird rotation of the schedule spot. It's a good flat spot for them. Plus they got beat by Miami pretty bad the last time they played. And I think that they'll play defense today. They're a team that is 6th in defense in the last 2 weeks. So I like the idea that game's going to go under the number. I was looking at some of these other ones. I looked at Houston, Miami. I think that game should go under the number, but the line's moving that way, so I don't want to pass up some numbers that I had. The overnight line was 227. Then Wager Talk opened at 226, and what is it now? 224 and a half. So it's moving down. So I don't want to get involved there. My number was 220, so it's kind of close to the number. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to go play on the Dallas Mavericks tonight, and I got them at the -1.5. I think they're at -2.5 right now. And I think that that's about as high as I would go. My numbers are 3.5, 4 on the number for that game. But what I like here is that Utah has been playing some of the toughest competition. I'm sorry, Dallas has been playing some of the toughest competition in the league. They're 6th ranked schedule here, and Utah is 18th ranked schedule here, which means only over the last couple of weeks the data is a little bit skewed to the if you like Dallas and they got an edge, then the idea being that the edges are really actually a little bigger, just because of the quality of the opponents they've been playing. The bag game is in the NBA, Jeff. I don't know if you want to hear about it yet, but the bag game's in the NBA.
Sure, go ahead.
The bag game is the Golden State Warriors against the Denver Nuggets game. The highest bet basketball game for the NBA is $78,000, the Bulls and the 76ers. Until you get to this game. This game has $204,000 on the game. So it's a big game. So at let's see, at 140, there was $5,500 on the Golden State Warriors. And then at 144, there was $148,900 on the Golden State Warriors. So someone put down $143,000 on the Golden State Warriors at 144. So there's your big bet of the day.
And the line went from 9.5 to 8 at Wager Talk. It's 8.5 on DraftKings. I'm going to nosy on over to Dawn Best right now and flat 8s at the Vegas Strip. I'm showing 76% of the tickets on the Nuggets. Is that correct?
This is showing 51% of the tickets on the Nuggets. 88% of the money is on the Warriors. Of course, you got $150,000 on one bet on the Warriors.
All right. Well, I won't be chasing the Warriors. They played Saturday night and lost to the Lakers.
Steph Curry's not playing.
Curry's not playing. All right. Well, good luck to you. And Draymond's still out, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So what is it? Klay Thompson and a cloud of dust and Wiggins?
Klay Thompson's not playing.
So who's playing? Rick
Hold
Barry?
on. I'm going to pull it up for you.
Rick Barry must be starting, right?
Let's go. Let's see. Where are they? Here we go. The starting lineup: Jordan Poole, who normally plays, Damian Lee, Moses Moody, Kevin Looney, and Porter, Otto Porter, and he's a game time decision, out. Steph Curry, Damon Green, and Klay Thompson. Wiggins is out, and Peyton's not playing, so none of their starters are playing. This is like the second team.
Good luck there. I will be not playing that game. But anyways, good luck to the and listen, in the NBA, when you have matchups like this, again, that number was already baked in at 9.5 with all those guys out, and then someone comes in and drops a boatload on the other side. And listen, it wouldn't, the under over is 223. It opened at so 115, 116, 117, 107 was the initial thought process, and then you just take it from there. So in the college tonight, 6 o'clock start, 871, 872 on the rotation. Delaware at Townsend, a number that opened at 6.5, now 4.5. According to Wager Talk, 58% of the bets, 60% of the money is on Townsend.
Now this shows this is a pretty heavy bet game, obviously, because it's the first game of the night. $129,000 on the game, 53% of the money, 70% of the tickets on Towson State. So
there's reverse line movement on Delaware down to 4.5. Both teams have stung us. We have cashed a few with Townsend. I think we played Delaware twice this year, and we're 1-1. The numbers, the eye test says reverse line movement on Delaware. But again, the Vegas guys have been doing this to the sharps all season long, where the public is pounding Townsend, yet the line's going down. The sharps come in, play Delaware at 4.5 or 5. Townsend wins by 7 or more. So I'm going to stay away there. Rotation number 873, 874, another cash cow, NC Wilmington, who has beaten Charleston twice this year, yet Charleston, a 2-point favorite. Every time I say go with the team against Wilmington, Wilmington just, if they're underdogs, they win outright. So do as you please. If I was to play this, I'd play College of Charlestown money line, probably around minus 123. I'm showing 51% of the bets, 70% of the money on COC.
$75,000 on the game, 61% of the money, 52% of the tickets on NC Wilmington.
I like College of Charleston, but that doesn't mean anything, guys. Wilmington has beaten us enough that we could open up our own sports book ourselves. Nothing in the next game. This next one really caught my eye. Rotation number 877, 878, Oral Roberts at North Dakota State. North Dakota State is currently 21-9, and when they win big. Oral Roberts 18-11. A number that opened up there. See, Wager Chalk is showing -3. That's where the number went. The number opened up at 1. Okay. Let me just tell everyone that. That's what the number was. Maybe the overnight number was 3. The Sharps pounded Oral Roberts. I'm showing nothing on Wager Talk for numbers, showing 69% of the tickets on Oral Roberts, +1. I like the Oral Roberts side.
Showing $45,000 on the game. This is showing that it opened -1, went to -1.5 for North Dakota State. $45,000 on the game, 51% of the money, and 64% of the tickets on North Dakota State.
I'm on the dog. If you can get them at +1.5, God bless you. Next game caught our eye. Rotation number 879, 880, Wright State versus Cleveland State. A game that opened up at a pick. Now -1 at our friends at Circa and South Point. A pick at Westgate and John Murray. 54% of the bets, 57% of the money on Cleveland State.
Yeah, this is a game that no one wants to bet on. This is the smallest bet game of the whole day. $16,000 on the game, 95% of the money, and 85% of the tickets on Cleveland State.
Yet at William Hill, Wright State's -1. You can get them at +1, 1.5. I like Wright State in this spot. The next game smells real bad to me. 881, 882, Northern Kentucky versus IPFW. Northern Kentucky 18-11, IPFW 20-10. I thought Northern Kentucky would be a bigger favorite. They only opened up at 1.5. I'm showing 68% of the bets, 58% of the money on IPFW.
We got $55,000 on the game, 54% of the tickets. I'm sorry, 54% of the cash, 50% of the tickets on Northern Kentucky.
I think it smells to me. I really do. I think that the public will get rewarded here with Northern Kentucky. But when I go against the alphabet soup teams, they usually get us. So if the public wants Northern Kentucky, God bless you. 883, 884, Furman and Chattanooga. Chattanooga opened at 1, now 2.5. It's at 2 at South Point. 63% of the bets, 63% of the money on the Chattanooga Choo-Choo.
This is the highest bet college basketball game of the night. $147,000 on the game, 63% of the money, 77% of the tickets on Tennessee Chattanooga.
I mean, I assume the money line is probably around 135. I just hate leaving 2.5s and getting beat by a 3-point off the backboard. I'll give you Chattanooga. I don't have a problem with that. The 2.5 scare me. So be careful there. That's all. 885, 886, UL Lafayette, Georgia State. We had UL Lafayette yesterday. I talked to a few people in our lanes and also did like the flip on Georgia State. I'm rooting for the Raging Cajuns of Lafayette. I think the slipper crashes today. I respect the Georgia State opening up at 2, now 3.5.
$80,000 on the game, 68% of the money, 78% of the tickets on Georgia State.
San Fran Gonzaga a couple Saturdays ago, homecoming, senior night, whatever you want to call it. San Fran +9 just got boxed to wire by the Zags. Zags coming off a loss to St. Mary's. Let me just tell you two things here. The Zags are not going to lose to San Fran as much as I'm rooting for San Fran. Bill Russell is not playing tonight. And secondly, they got revenge on their mind, hoping St. Mary's wins against Santa Clara in the late game. Opened at 12, now 14.5. I think the Zags cover. I think they decide how many do they want to win by 20, 25. I'm rooting for the Dons, but I can't get involved in this game.
$121,000 bet on the game, 65% of the money, 57% of the tickets, all on Gonzaga.
Yeah, it's a big public game, and as this night progresses, it'll be even bigger. The nightcap kind of smells to me. Santa Clara and St. Mary's, 889, 890. If you're in Vegas and looking for a night away from the casinos, jump on over to the Orleans Casino. They have both those games here. Mary's opened at 4, now 5. 56% of the bets, 56% of the money on Clara. I think the number opened up low to attract the St. Mary's money. I lean Santa Clara. But if you look just at Wager Talk, it's showing reverse line movement on St. Mary's.
Showing $107,000 on the game, 52% of the money, 56% of the tickets on St. Mary's.
Yeah, I lean the dog here, St. Clara. We'll see what happens there. In hockey, they're all big numbers. The one thing I'm going to say is Boston's coming home from a road trip that I think they went 5-1. Their only loss was against the Ducks. They're playing the Kings, who they beat in their West Coast trip. Ullmark is in net, not Swayman. Ullmark. The Bruins opened up -195, now -199. I do lean the Kings plus the 180. If you're a puck line shopper, take them plus the goal and a half as a safety precaution. 55% of the bets are on the Kings, but 91% of the money on the Bruins.
Showing 41,000 on the game, 89% of the money, 76% of the tickets on Boston.
Yeah, I lean the Kings here. I think they'll be competitive tonight. Quick's in net there. Florida -275, now 321. The only way you could play them, obviously, would be on a puck line. Toronto on Mondays, they just been forget about it. I'm not playing them with your money. If you Venmoed me $100, I'd Venmo you $200 and tell you to take the wife out to dinner there. Colorado at the Islanders. Colorado opened at 195, now 189. I saw a stat where the Islanders like 2-13 as dogs. They did win on Saturday against the Blues at home. Tougher competition here. And Edmonton, Calgary, we talked about this in the morning. Be interested to see what the numbers. Calgary opened up -180, now -203. 69% of the bets, 75% of the money, all on the Flames.
$51,000 on the game, 91% of the money, 77% of the tickets on Calgary.
Yeah, the only way you could play that game would be a puck line. I'm not going to get involved in that one either. Closing thoughts, Scotty.
Well, we got another bad game, so I'll just have to see how that turns out. My thought is that it's been pretty good so far.
3-1.
I don't understand this one, so this is really testing the waters here a little bit. The B team is going to be playing for Golden State tonight against a pretty good Denver team in Denver. So let's see how this goes.
And for myself, again, the breaking news that we touched about when the show started about Calvin Ridley, again, addiction. And I'm just talking from experience, from what I've seen in my past, my father, friends, family. I've had a lot of friends that got addicted to gambling, that have gotten addicted to drinking and drugs. I know a lot of people that have lost their lives because of it. Addiction's no joke, whether it's booze, whether it's gambling, whether it's sex, whether it's food, whatever it is. There are numbers available. And don't take it lightly. Don't wake up the next morning and say, oh, no, it was just a bad day. I'm going to get them back the next day. It's just no joke. It isn't. I talk about the three-prong. I call it the three-prong system. the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. You need all three clicking on all cylinders to be effective on a day-to-day basis. Even if one's off, then something's not working. So you can always take a breath, take a step back, reset your day. But the biggest thing is asking for help. That's the hardest thing in life. You know, we all think we have Superman capes and we can take it on by ourselves, but we don't understand by our actions, by our voice. The sharpest tool in the kitchen is your tongue. Okay, remember that. Once you say something, you can't retract it. And now, today, in social media, cell phones, once you text exactly what you're feeling, it's gone. It's there. There's no delete button. If you text it to someone, I'm going to bleep him, you do this to you. You can't get that text back. You can erase it on your side, but that other person's got it. You know, social media, tweets. I know people that have lost career jobs from tweets 9, 10, 11 years ago. Maybe they did it on a drunken stupor. Maybe they were just kidding. You can't take those back. So just think before you speak. And always remember this. If you are wagering or investing tonight, do it responsibly. If you have a problem, ask for help. There's an 800 number available. Myself and Scott want to see you here, right here, today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Scotty at Webby20 MLB. We wish everyone a blessed evening. We want everyone to have some fun with tonight's games. Any questions, comments, concern, hit us up on our timeline, DM us, whatever you need to do. And we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.